What's that you've been reading?
The Andanuth. I found it in that house yesterday.
Good?
Like nothing I ever read.
It's a road. There's a girl on it.
A girl? What's she doing?
Just standing there, talking to herself.
She's a guard.
I don't think so. Just a kid wearing a dress.
It's a trap. She's bait.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right.
Maybe. Maybe not. We gotta check it out.
Sam, what are you doing? Sam. Go with him.
Are you the mailman?
What?
Are you the mailman?
No. No, I'm not.
I'm waiting for the mailman.
Yeah? Why's that?
My dad is waiting for a package. He ordered some books. Some game books. I'm going to meet the mailman when he comes. We can play games again.
Where is your dad?
It's over there.
Oh, hey, Scully. How you doing? How you feeling? Rested?
I feel fine.
What?
That poster. Where'd you get it?
Oh, I got it down on M Street at some head shop about 5 years ago. Why?
No, I just wanted to send one to somebody.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Who? Who?
Oh, just some guy. Jack. M Street?
Yeah. Hey, does this have something to do with that case you were working on?
That case. Yeah. Yes, it does.
Did you solve it?
Me? No. No, I was on vacation, just getting out of my own head for a few days. What about you? Did you, get anything done while I was gone?
Oh, God. I mean, it's amazing what I can accomplish without incessant meddling or questioning into everything I do. It's just... There's got to be an explanation.
Oh, I don't know. I think some things are better left unexplained.
Oh, hey, Scully. How you doing? How you feeling? Rested?
I feel fine.
What?
Trollord Games. Join the fray.
That for nothing. I was singing Chuck's praises nonstop. All right. Well, hello, everyone. I don't know what I said. So it's February 6th, 2024. This is Ask Me Anything. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed that little X-Files little blip there. We finished, my wife and I finished the Canister. What is that damn show called? It was really good. The Silo. We finished Silo. Excellent TV show. I recommend that to everybody. It's not called Canister. It's called Silo.
Canister.
And I was wondering. Yeah, I got that way off base there.
Cylinder next Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Today we got the triangle. Anyways, so I was bored last night, wandering around, and of course I stumbled on the X-Files, and you can't not watch the X-Files. It's just such a great show. So I've had the X-Files on my brain for the past 20 hours or so. I love that middle shelf behind Steven. Yes, that is loaded with advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Scary Gygax's Mythos. He sent me a signed copy in the olden times. And Jeff Talanian's Hyperborea is on that shelf as well, which is where it should go with the other AD&D material. A spinoff called Soda Can. There you go. Yeah, I got to say, if you haven't watched Silo, Chuck, I know you haven't watched it. Stephanie will love it. It is well written, well put together, well acted, and it takes you in a different direction than they pitch it as going this direction, and suddenly you find yourself in this strange detective sci-fi.
What was it called? Tube? What was it called again?
Yeah, it's Tube. Yeah. Soda Can, Tube, Cylinder. It's called Silo is the name
Silo.
of it. I don't
God
even
almighty, I cannot remember that.
I think we rented it on Apple TV.
Oh, well, I don't have that communist network. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it might be on Max. I have no idea.
I'm getting closer to breaking down and canceling one of my other ones to get Apple, though. I'm getting
yeah. Well, we do a lot. We have Hulu and the other one, Netflix, but we have an Apple TV, so I just rent or buy whatever and just move on.
Yeah, it's better you can't buy DVDs no more, can you? Or can you? I guess you can.
It's getting tougher. Though I keep hearing rumors that streaming services are they're pulling back. You buy the digital and they're saying you don't own it after. So I don't know. I just keep hearing this. That's what I keep hearing. I don't know.
I would be pissed about that. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I would be pissed too.
Oh yeah, you buy more than I do probably because I just Only if I can't find a DVD I own, like in one of the tubs, then I break down and
Oh,
get it.
interesting.
You know?
Oh yeah, no, we do. We don't buy any. I don't even have a DVD player anymore, so it's all digital at this point.
Well, I've got some stuff that's World War II stuff that you can't get on DVD on streaming. You know what I mean? Like old
Yeah.
DVDs, that kind of thing. But anyway,
Yeah, I don't know. Streaming, I think streaming, it's got its advantages, but it's got its disadvantages. I've slowly abandoned YouTube for my record player, so like as not, I'll probably start getting VHS tapes again or something. So I'm gonna get some Betamax. I'm gonna get everything on Betamax.
Betamax.
For those old timers, Betamax, it was a small VHS tape about yay big, and in the day it competed with VHS. I don't know why it lost, but it lost and vanished by the early '80s, I guess. I don't know.
You want to know? You want to know a fun fact about why it lost?
Why is that?
Oh, I hit the right button. Shit. Right button actually for a change. If I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere when I was in college that the second time that Betamax, one of the reasons that it lost popularity was because the amount of availability of pornography during the I'm not making this up, during the
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
And it just got that, and there was some other type of film or something. They just didn't go on Betamax, so it got squoze out. You know,
I don't doubt that at all. I vaguely remember somewhere that all of the video streaming software first started in the porn industry. That it really got its foothold in the porn industry. That would not surprise me even a little bit. We got a lot of interesting comments in here. Betamax was better quality, but Sony proprietary. 8-track tape, bring them all back. There you go. Some tapes have become very expensive. I imagine, I would love to see Blockbuster or a store like that make a comeback so we can just go rent stuff. And I think that would be fantastic. And actually, I think people would do it all over again. I really think Blockbuster it's probably some mismanagement on its part. But I don't know. This is why I prefer physical books and watch virtually no TV. I've got a lot of books and I watch a lot of TV, so I'm on both sides of that.
I got a Kindle because I can't see worth a shit. So there you go.
Kathy's got a Kindle too. I don't know. All mine are physical. I'm currently reading Lord Fowl's Man.
Oh, you really? I just got through reading that again, and
really?
Yeah, and I started on Sort of Genre this week.
Oh, that's interesting. I have never read this. Charlie Sifford, a good friend of mine, one of the gaming group,
really,
Daladon, in the world of Air, he played Daladon. Charlie loved these books. I never read them in the 80s or 90s, and I got myself some hardcover copies on eBay a couple weeks back and just wandered. It's a very interesting read. It's very. It's
definitely different. It's a slow burn. Absolutely,
it's a slow burn,
good,
but it's so well written. It's like Lovecraft. I'm going to say this. I know there's going to be fighting words for a lot of people, but I am enjoying reading Lovecraft more than I am enjoying reading Robert E. Howard. There's just something about. Well, I know it's crazy. I know it's absolutely crazy. There's something about Lovecraft's the way he's. I don't know. I just finished reading. Yeah, it's a complete story. I just finished reading the case of Charles Dexter, I think is what it was titled, and I was riveted. I couldn't put the book down. It was absolutely fantastic. His writing was so descriptive, and maybe I was in the right mood for it. And it's not to say that Howard's isn't. Obviously, Howard. No one turns praise like Howard. But are they banning me?
Jeremy wants to get on the stream and argue you. He wants me to give him the access so he can come in here and raise hell.
Give me the room.
They're angry.
Jason had the same response. King Kothar, he had the same response.
Yeah, I bet he did. What? What are you talking about?
Is Tyler with us today? Yes. Rick
he's
Montel.
here.
So,
yeah.
So years ago, Tyler used to do TrollCon. He used to do all of the conventions that we went to. And Tyler and I traveled together many, many times over many, many years. Great times, blah, blah, blah. But I told him that of all the Star Trek movies, one of my least favorite was The Wrath of Khan. And he was so flabbergasted. He was so stunned that he pulled my geek card then and there. So I'm guessing with this Lovecraft Howard thing, I might lose it again.
And taking a chance on your health in the public. Can you repeat that last statement? I was typing. I didn't hear it. Did you say something about Star Trek?
Yes, the Wrath of Khan it's okay. It's a good flick.
What? Come
it's
on,
not-
dude. Khan! It's fucking great, man. It's awesome.
I gotta go with the first one. The first Star Trek movie is my absolute favorite Star Trek movie. It's just awesome.
Wasn't that
Wolf alone was like, get out.
Get Out?
Oh wait, no, he's talking to. See, now Jeremy's right. And see, I've stunned everyone. Jeremy and I are finally in agreement on something, which has rarely happened. The first movie was just the motionless picture. There you go.
I loved it. I mean, I know that I liked it because it created millions of memes. Let's look at it like that. It's a cultural thing. It's a history.
Well, there you go. The only Star Trek movie I can say that I thought was too much for me to enjoy was the whale one, whichever one that was. I don't know which one.
That would be I think that's the first one, Steve.
No, it's not the first.
No, I guess not.
First
Maybe
one.
it has to be the second one then. It has to be the second one, I think. I'd have to look.
No, the second one's Wrath of Khan, isn't it?
I don't remember, man. I've got all of
I
them.
don't know. I can't. I don't know. But Stephen likes the motion picture. I love that one too. The motion picture is Star Trek Story, the one with almost no action like they had.
Is 4 Voyage Home? Holy shit!
So Scottish Jeff, I gotta tell you, this is really funny. So my wife and I have been circling back around all over the place, just watching TV shows, just picking stuff and watching it. And maybe 2 years ago, I'm just gonna get run out of the room after I say this. About 2 years ago, we were scooting through whatever, Netflix, I don't know, and we saw the original series. She never watched it. She's not big into science fiction or any of that stuff. And I have probably watched all of the episodes as a kid, but never in any kind of order. You know, back in those days, you watched whatever came on TV and mostly reruns. So they were all over the place. And so we sat down to watch Star Trek, the original series. And man, I fell asleep in that first episode. I was asleep inside of 10 minutes. I kept waking up, trying to make myself stay awake.
I paid money to watch it.
We never went back to it. So I have not circled back to the original series because they're kind of slow, which is okay.
I like them, but I know what you're saying. I went back and thought, me and her decided we were going to watch every single last episode of Star Trek there was, and all series. I had them all set up in chronological order to watch them. Yeah. I didn't quite make it.
It's a lot.
It is. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. So Star Trek 4, that's the Voyage Home. That's the Whales one. I love Star Trek. It's good stuff, but it's not quite. And Tyler knows this. It's not quite my. And I've said this 1,000 times in the stream. It's not quite my style of science fiction. Star Wars really isn't either. If you're going to push me, if you want to know what I really enjoy, it's Aliens. That type. Gritty, realistic. What is the old movie? It's got Sean Connery as a detective on a moon outside of Jupiter. I know you guys know what this movie is. I know some of you out there know what it is. Space Pirates. Outland. Yes, Outland. Great movie. Absolutely fantastic movie.
It's a good movie. I just watched that not too long ago with her, actually, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's just good because I think it has a more realistic portrayal of what space travel is going to be like. There's a couple of others that are escaping me now. There was a short 2-season sci-fi show called Above and Beyond, something like that. Really, 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 really good. Because it's kind of a little bit, when you go onto a Navy boat, ship, whatever, The Expanse is very good.
Oh yeah, great.
You go onto an aircraft carrier or Space Above and Beyond. That was it. You go onto an aircraft carrier or submarine or something. It is not, tubular, carpeted.
No, it's like,
absolutely.
Shit sticking out. What does this do?
Right, shit all over the place. And I suspect that's what space travel will be like, at least in the beginning. Who knows? But
couple
with the in vitro people who were testing babies. There you go.
You're not missed a whole lot of things.
You watch.
Nothing. I was going to smooth over that one that Jeff said. I was like moving right along. What I was going to tell you was there is a question, and Jay put a comment in there that just basically said that he's uploading the PSDs here in a few minutes to his folder for the cover art.
Excellent. Good deal,
I
Jay.
told him since Troy was helping that we're expecting to be underwater themed, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there you go. And Jay, sorry, I missed the events this weekend. Things got a little bit out of control. for me, and Chuck picked up the slack and carried the torch. So sorry about that. Sorry about bailing on you. But
Chris Donovan
see who
asks,
is in
I have a question for
Okay.
Chris Donovan. Did you Dragonlance, this is interesting, did you Dragonlance the waters of Dun Hollow stories? For example, lift from actual gameplay? And whether yes or no, do you have Yurik, Ava, and the other characters statted and available?
I do not have them statted, and none of that was ever played. That is just a story that that I'm telling as I follow these 2 characters and 3 characters, Folkguard with the dwarf, on their journey north. And it really, I don't. Yurik is a character that I made in Todd Gray's game 1,000 years ago. I think I never made it more. We never played it more than 4 times, but I always loved the name so much that I just kind of circled back to where that character would be had Todd kept playing it. Todd's a great DM. If you could ever get him running games, he's absolutely fantastic. But he just prefers playing. He doesn't like sitting behind a screen very much. But no, it was these are just tales, and I'm weaving as much Aerodian mythos into it so that when you're reading it, you feel like you're in Aerd as you're passing through it. And the good news is I started yesterday on the novella finally, so which will be wrapping up the stories of. There's a very, very loose connective tissues. For those who don't know, we're talking about 3 small fiction books I wrote. They're available on the store. Houseless God, Mirrored something, and something the Giants board. And it takes Yurik is your first character, and then story 3 he meets Ava, later Folkguard, a dwarf. But in the interim they meet this this cleric, who gets ensnared by a druid. So the overarching quest, and it's very understated, is to go to the waters of Dun Hollow and fetch these particular flowers that will convince the dryad to let the cleric free. So that the novella will be that adventure in the Dun Hollow Forest, which is over. I can never do that. I don't know. So it's somewhere on that map. It's up in the northeast or west. I don't know.
I put a link in there for the fiction page.
Oh, good deal. Good deal.
And there's a question from Terry DM.
All right. For all of us completist collectors, is there an archive showing all the different versions, printings of the 3 CNC core books? So we've actually started putting that together. If you go to the Pinterest page, you can see the Player's Handbook is done. You can see each of the versions of the Player's Handbook. And we are working on the M&T and the CKG. Those will be much shorter because there weren't so many iterations. I think and you have to look at it. I think it's missing, the Player's Handbook one is missing a leather book that came out with the 3rd printing, I think. I don't know if I put that up on there. And then there's a couple of flip books that haven't got up there yet. But we are actually, it's one of the things that Grace is working on, is building that stuff up so that everyone has access to it. We're writing, if you go to the store, each of the products, I've slackened a little bit on this, but each of the products, we're giving a product history of it, when it was first published, what iteration it's on, and we'll be linking that out to Pinterest so that you can go check out older covers and stuff like that. It's coming together very nicely. We've made tremendous strides on the overhaul of TLG. I'm just super excited about it, from convention presences to the website presence to the overhaul of pulling the OGL out. We've just absolutely made tremendous strides. I don't think Chuck's put this out there, but we're closing in on 100 events at GaryCon. That's all thanks to Chuck there. That is we're looking at just some amazing stuff going on. We're revitalizing the blog. Grace and I had a long meeting about that yesterday. We're going to bring the blog back into works where we're putting announcements out. I got a State of the Troll actually coming out in the next day or so. We're kind of waiting for a finalized logo on the 2520 celebration, which will kick off very soon. And that'll all start on the blog, blah, blah, blah. Lots of stuff going on. Lots and lots of stuff. Any more questions that I missed?
Terry said, thank you for answering his question. There is another question from Chris there. Will the Lost City of Gaxmore be back in print anytime soon?
I'm not. Soon is a very interesting word to use at Trollhorde Games. We have projects that we're working on that are our primary focus. Gaxmore, Luke and I have talked about that about 3 times in the past 3 or 4 months. And what we would like to do is work that into the bigger picture. I've got Mike Stewart's on board to start writing the Castle Zagging material. We'll start that we'll just start the information dump tomorrow on in his folder on our server, and he'll give us an idea of that. Once we've got an idea of what schedule wise he can do with Castle Zagig, and then we can better pinpoint things like the Haunted Highlands, which is uppermost on my mind, and Gaxmore and a couple of other these projects that are floating around. It's one of the things I keep dropping things on Jeremy to do is overhauling some of the older stuff.
True Shaft, yes, we are now streaming on Facebook and YouTube when we stream on Twitch, so that way we can have more people join us that don't have accounts over or whatnot.
Yeah, it's great, and I hear rumors that we're going to add Twitter to this soon. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know if that's possible. Grace mentioned it to me, but I don't know if it's actually doable. And Ultra Magnus says, when did you first start going to conventions? Was it before TLG? Yes, I can't really remember. I don't think I went to cons as a youngster. I don't remember any. We were a pretty insular group, me and Matt Golden and Todd Gray, Charlie Sifford. There was a guy named David Hockey who we haven't seen in a million years, but a couple other guys. But I remember I was in the Army. I was in Fort Gordon. Yes, I was in Fort Gordon at AIT when Matt Golden called and said, "Hey, dude, you're real close to Atlanta. Why don't we meet up and go to Dragon Con?" So this is going to be like 1991, I think, or 90, somewhere. I think it's 91. So we, the Gulf War had just ended, so I wasn't going over there. They recut orders, so I was staying there, blah, blah, blah. So we met up and went to Dragon Con in 91, and we had so much fun. It was such a blast that we went to Dragon Con every year up until the year 2000, when we shifted our focus and went to Gen Con. Mac really wanted the gaming experience. Dragon Con is... I strongly recommend if you enjoy conventions, you go to Dragon Con. It is the everything con. I mean everything.
Careful what you say.
Yes, I'm gonna say. So some of the weirder things, without the weirdest, but Guar has been there for years. That's been a lot of fun. I remember I was wandering around. I had gotten pretty inebriated, and I was wandering around some hallway, and I found a whole bunch of Pern people, fans of Anne McCarthy. Is Anne McCarthy? Mm-hmm. McCarthy's Dragon Riders of Pern, and they were all filking, which is singing folk songs from Pern. And I remember I joined. I had no idea what was going on. But I joined them, and I sang folk songs about Pern for a while. I remember saddling up to the bar one night, a bar, because there's many of them. And I ordered a Long Island iced tea, looked over to my right, and Walter Conrad was sitting there. So we just started shooting the shit for a little while. Saw Darth Vader hitting on a chick. That was kind of crazy. So I don't know. Dragon Con is just weird, but it's fun. Gen Con, very, 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 very different. Will you be more Inferon? Yes. I'm actually going to do the main Gelderland section next, Terry Diem. That's what I'm focusing on there. I'm going to start moving up the west side of the land and start wrapping that stuff up. So it's like a sex pervert convention. Well, I wouldn't say that. There's comic books there. There's Star Wars and Star Trek and gaming, though not a lot of gaming, not a huge amount of gaming. There's, I don't know, you just name it in our, maybe more than I haven't been.
It's changed. It's on my list to talk to you about, actually. Yes.
Okay, yeah. We exhibited at Dragon Con once. It's horrible. We made no money, so we didn't go back. But because their gaming was in a different building and blah, 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 blah. It's just everything. If you want to collect old Weird Tale stuff, Dragon Con's a place to be. I mean, cool. It's just crazy. I was on RPG staff at Dragon Con. This is Lando. Wish I could have stopped by your booth in 90. We didn't have a booth. It was just me and Mac wandering around. I will say this. My favorite show at Dragon Con was the Torture Garden, which is this local S&M organization. I don't know if they're still around. And they would do Shakespeare and poetry readings. And until you've seen Macbeth done by an S&M club, you've just not lived. So it's
literally had a question, but forget it now. So, oh my God.
it's just a thing. You got to do it. I mean, it's
wild. MJ Cook asked, are there any plans on combining those short story books into one hardback? I think we've talked about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So once the novella is written, I don't know what we're going to do. We may put the novella out, or we may just wrap it all together into one, because the stories are pretty connected. I was pretty definite doing that. And I don't think it necessarily needs that real connective tissue. Like at one point they're in 60 miles apart or something between two stories. And I think that's fine. So that there's a really, really good chance that we're going to do that. That's how I would prefer it. But I got to tell you, I'm having trouble communicating with our printers with the way I want our fiction books printed. And they keep using a heavier stock paper. It's very difficult to get lighter stock paper these days. It's not treated and whatever the hell. So I'm struggling to find, because game books are very different than fiction reading books, and they should be. So I've got to, before I can really say we're going to do hardcovers this direction, I got to get that fixed. Yeah, Lando, that's how it was. The gaming was always in a different building. So when we exhibited, it didn't help very much. I never went into a con twice where I made no money. Yeah, and I went to many cons twice that I hadn't made any money. And McCaffrey, absolutely fantastic. Walked away carefully. I'm guessing A Wolf Alone, that was with the Macbeth. I once was asked to make S&M stuff as well. Like, my wife would have to measure. And ladies, that ended before it started. There you go. Are there any aired projects that you really wanted to do but can't for whatever reason? Terry, the project that I want to do the most for aired, and it's the tie-in project, is the Book of Planes with the Rings of Brass. That I really, really, really want to get that done. I've been wanting to do the planes for a long, long time, and the planes have a place in the aired, but it's kind of specific, and it's kind. I think I try to always make it so that you can carry it to wherever, but that it's still specific to aired, and that's what I really, really want to do. And that is on the docket. Things have. I should not say this. Things have evened out somewhat. They've evened out somewhat. There's been no crazy announcements or any lunacy coming from any other direction that tends to destroy whatever we're doing. Yeah, it's called the Codex of the Planes. And Terry, I think about a third of the way through it. Written, done when last year the OGL, and I really honestly thought the OGL would consume about 3 months of time, but it consumed much more than that. its ripple effects were much larger than I anticipated. DracuCon is run by Nose. There you go. By the way, guys, the new podcast that our CNC Syndicate are well done. Is that Davis's? I haven't seen a new podcast. Are there that are out there that I haven't seen?
There's a new one. I put it in the link. You didn't see it, obviously, but DM Samuel and George Hardy have started up a new Siege Engine podcast.
Sweet. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I've been. It's been a fun few weeks as we're wrapping up stuff. And really, I spent the entire weekend. It's stuff. We're still dealing with it. I'll have to look for that. Blah blah blah. By the way, guys. So at any rate, you have any more questions, throw them up in here. I can ramble on a little bit. We will be cutting out a little early today, right at 5:20. We're going to bail. Throw your questions up in here. We've wrapped up, just to let everybody know. We can do a quick Kickstarter update until the next question arrives. We've got all the Undying War and Sonarm shipped out. I'll give a formal update to the Hermit tomorrow, but things have slowed a little bit. Cartography is not getting done, so I do not think we're going to make a GaryCon release. It's looking less and less likely, which is fine. I don't want to rush this book. It's going to be fantastic, full color, whole 9 yards, with pockets in the back for the maps. So not rushing that. Arms and Armor, not 100% certain. I think Davis has turned everything over, but the siege gear, there's something he hasn't turned over because I keep needling him about it, and he keeps going off doing other things. So Arms and Armor should be done very, very, very soon. And I know Peter is hammering out the art for it like a madman. So, we have some specialized pictures I got to get in there too. Armor, what are these pieces in the armor? What are the pieces of the sword? What are the pieces of the axe? What are the pieces of the bow? Whatever, blah, 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 blah. We should have a preview release ready to go. Working as we speak. That's right. At GaryCon, that'll be for the Free City of Altamira, which will be absolutely fantastic. I think we're going to print 400 or 300 or something like that, and those will be available at GaryCon. So if you're headed to the show, definitely hunt those things down. Pushmore +5 versus Gnome's best be in the book. He does have Tyrannus Rex. He does have So we call it here in Arkansas, we call it an idiot blade. And it's basically you got the haft, and it's got, I don't know what it's actually called.
Oh.
You got two little bars that come down and then a blade that goes across. And it's a way you mow your yard. You just kind of swing it. Maybe it's a swing blade. I don't know. It's not really a swing blade, but I remember buying one and the guy's like, "Oh, you mean an idiot blade? Because only an idiot would use that, as opposed to a lawnmower." But he's got one of those for giants that giants use against gnomes and goblins. So I do know that that's in there somewhere. Terry DM says several companies have moved from away from the Kickstarter to other funding platforms. Will TLG do the same? We're not going to go to other crowdfunding platforms. I mean, we've dabbled in Indiegogo. We might look at BackerKit and their crowdfunding, but I think that what we're going to do, and we've got to have a serious meeting about this week. I think what we're going to do is shift to, not completely, we're still going to use Kickstarter, obviously, but shift to a pre-order system where it's not this big thing where whatever, this is the book that we're printing. If you want to put in a pre-order it, and we'll get the book out. So that's kind of, do what, Chuck?
No, before I forget, I had an epiphany about that the other day. So
Okay.
a good one.
It's kind of where we're leaning. Too many Kickstarters, I think is exhausting to all of us out there that like to buy stuff, and it's hard to keep up with. And in no small respect, it slows down production, because if let's just say we want to put out The Undying War, now we don't have to just put out The Undying War. We've got 7 other books that we have to put out with it. So that slows the process down. I think that's what we're going to experiment with. Look for that in the very, very near future.
Dirty Dwarf had a question.
Dirty
Dwarf says, I have the 3 core books for CNC. What would you recommend next?
So I would recommend, if you're looking for a setting, I'd recommend the Codex of Erd. If not, if you got your own setting and you got your own homebrew, all that stuff, man, probably Gods and Legends would be my next, or the Adventurer's Backpack.
At
I think
the
Gods
table,
and Legends,
yeah.
Gods and Legends gets a pass, I think, by people. It doesn't move as quickly as some of the other titles, but it is really, the art and it's fantastic. The gods are cool, and it gives you pantheons for everything, which if you're running the game, or even if you're playing, it gives you a ton of stuff to just play with. So I would probably go with Gods and Legends, followed by the Adventurer's Backpack. The Adventurer's Backpack's only real weakness is only the rune mark goes to 24th level. The other classes only go to 13th or 13th, I think. And that is one of the things we will fix.
In ADP, that's something we got to do, but we got that whole book to work on anyway. So.
Yeah, and it's been out for 5, 6, 7 years now. So people have hit level, and they want to know what's coming next. So that is definitely on them.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Everything. Savage Splinter says, before I forget, I introduced 3 new players to CNC the last 2 weekends, and they love the system. They found it a lot easier to play and grasp their characters than they do in 5e and Pathfinder, starting a new campaign with 2 of them and 2 other new players now. Oh, that's fantastic, Savage Splendor. That's really, I think, and I've said this over and over again, if you can just get people to sit at the table and play the game and move away from their comfort zone, 1, 2, 3 games, and they're usually hooked, because it allows them to do what they want to do. It allows the CK to do what they want to do, and you can kind of go that imaginative route as opposed to more, mechanical or technical. Pat, it's not a scythe. I would have to look it up. It's not.
I thought you were commenting about his other. I'm behind a little bit here. Let me go back. Actually, I'm ahead. But
yeah, I think we both are. I'm typing in idiot blade.
Are you still looking that up?
I've never actually had nothing came up.
We should put that in the Arms and Armory.
I just love that dude who when I asked, I need one of these blades that you swing back and forth, and he goes, "Oh, you mean an idiot blade?" I said, "What?" "Yeah, an idiot. Only an idiot would use that blade, not the lawnmower." It was so funny.
That's some funny shit. That is funny.
I don't think it's a sling blade. Let me check. I've seen the movie, and I don't remember it sling. Just the movie comes up. That's a good movie. It is called a... Okay, it is a sling blade here, or a weed cutter.
Sky?
I'm getting 2 names.
Death Code one, Anyway.
Yeah, groundwork. I'll put this in the chat. But I've seen one of the pictures said sling blade. So that's the idiot blade there. Did I get it in there? Yeah.
Oh, one of those.
All right. Any more questions floating around? I've fallen way horribly.
No,
behind.
there's Terry DM commented, one of my problems with Kickstarters is when backers get their books rewards after they arrive in stores. That really grinds my gears. I'm looking at you, Monty Cook. Oh.
Yeah, it's happened to us once. I try to always put a hold on the books until we've shipped, and the distributors shipped it out once. It very much infuriated me because if you back it, you should definitely get it before it's popping in stores. That's absolutely nuts. But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's a great platform. I love Kickstarter. I think it's a great way to get books out to the community, and blah 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 blah. But I also think that it's easy to abuse the platform and abuse all of us out there who like to support it. And with there's just so much stuff. And then I know a lot of these guys, you don't even know what you bought anymore.
And the problem is they've just become so more common now. When I first started getting into Kickstarters years ago, there was not that much gaming stuff on there. It was like card decks and shit like that, and some not even dice, a few dice. But now, man, it's just exhausting the amount of emails I get from my personal account from all the Kickstarters out there. And I mean, it's huge.
It's a lot.
And I still don't understand how they're able to. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was gonna say I don't understand how they can launch some shit. I don't know, Steve's basement dungeon, and then it gets 500,000 people behind it in like 2 minutes. I don't understand that. It's wild.
I think the vast majority. I think what's happened now is the YouTube entertainment community has discovered Kickstarter as a funding source. So they build these large platforms on YouTube and turn whatever they've been doing into a game, taking their house rules, putting it into a game, rolling it to Kickstarter, and putting it out. So it's an interesting, I don't know. It's just the way the world is. I never seen any physical minis on Kickstarter. It's still STLs now. Getting those things shipped is a gigantic pain.
There actually was one that I saw the other day, and I sent Davis because I thought it was cool as shit. It was actual minis, and it was like they were really strange. It wasn't like your standard, dungeon or D&D type monsters or whatever. It was like there was a cat guy with a big two-handed sword. There's some really wild stuff. Yeah. It was neat though. It was really neat.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, Chris has got a comment. He said not really a question, but sort of a comment. He said, hire P.N. Elrod to create vampire and other gothic monster stories in a new setting from somewhere in Arid. Interesting. I'm not sure who P.N. Elrod is, but I'll look him up.
Terry DM says, I've been dealing with TLG from the very beginning. When a single map didn't arrive with an order sent to me up here in Canada in 2005, Stephen been over baggers to fix it. Been a diehard. Well, thank you for that, Terry DM. Very much appreciated. We do try to get everything people ordered in their hands because it is. I'm kind of a bibliophile myself, and it's tough. I got to tell you. So I buy a lot of books, and we had a good bookstore here, Lorenzo's, but it closed several years back. Yeah, just before COVID hit. So I don't really have a good used bookstore here in Little Rock anymore. I have to go somewhere. So I've gotten to where I'm on eBay all the time, and I've noticed that eBay, Amazon, a lot of these places they sell books that are not. They're not well bound. They're not good books. They're all
they're
POD.
terrible. Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible, and it's really, really aggravating. I've actually kind of learned how to pick them out. A lot of the stuff I can kind of tell what they're fixing to do. So it's one of those things. We're a little bit anal when it comes to making sure everything gets where it needs to go.
I got a question for the viewers out here. Scottish Jeff said, I only look at ones from the U.S. now. Shipping from Europe is too expensive. So I got a question. Are there U.S. friendly Kickstarters like there's European friendly? No, it never occurred to me before.
So one of the things that we've talked about, and Chuck, you may or may not remember this, is you can do a Kickstarter in England, and we've considered doing the Player's Handbook Kickstarter in England, printing it in England, and shipping it from England. Now to do that, there's one or two distributors that we got to get, or both, that are going to have to help us ship it, or alternatively, and we haven't made this announcement yet, though everything is signed and in blood, so it's fantastic. There is a Hungarian company, a company based in Budapest, I should say, that is big into the video game market. It's breaking into the RPG market. They do Savage Worlds. Now they do the Magyar version of Savage Worlds, but they've also offered to print over there so an English version of what we do, and then they ship it. So that would solve a lot of problems. Now there's issues with that. We we have to be able to print and sell enough over there to make it worth our while. It can't be 60 copies. It's got to be hundreds of copies. So there's some stuff that we got to work through. But that announcement will come out soon. Gorgio and I are talking about it, so we'll see. I'll be your man in Budapest. I love that. I've never been Vic Danger. I'm going to go to Budapest one of these days, and now I have even a greater reason to go to it.
Well, you probably will, and I'm excited because the word is their books are pretty good quality. So
yeah, and we talked about that, and that's one of the things that we're concerned over. And Scottish Jeff is actually correct. Even if we had stuff printed in England, that doesn't help the Europeans that much because they've left the Brexit thing. So it's all. We're really what we need to do is my daughter loves to travel. We just need to give her a crate of books and she can just fly in.
First, you have to go visit the in-laws. Here,
Right.
take this while you're going. What is this
She
shit?
can go to France and Italy and whatever. And she would.
Oh, that would be good. Oh, Pat. So Chris Dunvan told Pat Elrod. She's the one that wrote the Ravenloft stuff. I Strahd, the novel.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go.
She would be good for horror.
Bob Gnarly says, question, do you know Bill Webb and do you like him? So Bill Webb is awesome. I met Bill back in 2000 at Gen Con 2000. First time we met, and we went out drinking, and every Gamma trade show, Gen Con, Origins, every show that he and I were at, we would go out drinking. Now, I will say, we both kind of curtailed that as we've grayed a little bit in the past 3 decades, but I'll tell you this, back in the day, it was St. Patty's Day or some Irish thing was going on while we were in Vegas at the Gamma Trade Show, and Bill is Irish, or he's got Irish blood in him. I don't know. And man, I went to an Irish pub with Bill. It was rough. In those days I could drink some, but not like Bill. Bill is. I have nothing but absolute love and praise for Bill Webb. He and I go way back. He's a great friend. He's a good publishing partner. We worked together on many projects. The folks at Frank Games, Necromancer Games, fantastic people.
They're doing CNC now for us too, or with us.
That's right. I keep forgetting they're doing Castle States. Yeah, my praise for Bill knows no bounds. It absolutely knows no bounds. He's one of those people that I know that if I called him and I needed a favor, he'd do it. I mean, he's just good people. I've been to Budapest several times. Gabor Lutz is I think Gabor Lutz. I knew someone was from Budapest. I do remember that. Yes, I would love to go. I did my master's thesis on the Austro-Hungarian Empire, architectural expressionism in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So I'm pretty familiar with the whole the countryside. I've been to Austria and Vienna, but I've never been to Budapest or Prague.
That's why you want to go for sure. Yeah, get that.
Yeah, I would love to go. Just poke around. Airdropper in 80-second style. That's the way to do it. It knows for a fact Bill Webb's idea of curtailing the drinks would drop most normal mortals. Yes, that's probably true. Bill's good. I haven't talked to him like a month. I need to give him a call. There you go. Yeah, that dude could pound him away. We used to always, it was really cool because they had so in the very early days, Necromancer Games was a subsidiary. They weren't a subsidiary. That's not right. They were a publishing partner of White Wolf. So there was this White Wolf party. We were never invited to the White Wolf party. The Trollers were never invited to the White Wolf party. We were kind of doing our own thing. And plus, we weren't part of the White Wolf crew. But Bill would always invite us. So I would go to the White Wolf party and just hang out with Bill. And nobody would talk to me but Bill. It was awesome. Bill was just great people. I love Bill Webb. He signed books for my Navy Nuke twin sons and shipped them to them for Christmas. That is awesome. That sounds like Bill. Bill will do just about anything. Plus, they had, I don't think they do it anymore. I think the guy who was doing it for him retired. They were offering their books with metal covers. That's badass. Now, that's just badass. You can't get away from that. It was expensive, but it was badass. Bill will borrow both your OD&D book to roll random stuff for his game and somehow run off with half the bourbon at the bottom next to it. That sounds about right. I bet Bill's never drank with a true Canadian gardener from the prairies. So I can't speak to that, Terry, but and I do know he's relaxed things a little bit. I've played with some of the White Wolf freelancers and stuff. They're good people. It was offered early on. They approached Troller Games back in the year 2000 when D20 first kicked off. They created their, I think it was White Wolf Studios or something. And they were going to do a bunch of D20 publishers. Necromancer Games was one of them. There's a few others. They approached Troller Games. And Mac Golden, interestingly enough, if I remember correctly, I think Mac wanted to go with White Wolf, but Davis and I did not. Or Davis wanted to go, and Mac and I did not. I can't really remember how that pan out. But the consensus was we don't go because two didn't want to, and we didn't join White Wolf, and never looked back. So it was good we did.
Well, we ended up with them. We ended up being next to him at Gen Con that day. When we did the release. Hey, we're still here.
Oh yeah, and we got the Gygax contracts shortly after that, so it all worked out very, very well. The only real issue we had is we lost Matt Golden in 2003. He had to leave the company, and that was a huge loss. That was a gigantic loss to the company. You cannot stress how important Mac was to both getting TLG started, motivating me, CNC, all that crap aside. Mac was huge in getting this role, and he still is. If I have any kind of questions about what I'm designing, I text Mac.
He's smart.
Yeah. Well, and he loves games and he knows games, and he's got a good.
We really need to get him to come anyway.
Yeah. Yes, he went to one Gary Con like 3 years or 4 years ago, just before.
I remember.
Just before.
In fact, you want to hear a funny saying that I tell people all the time now? COVID ruined my TLG experience. Because since COVID, he's not been back, and neither has Todd. Nor Tyler, for that matter. Yeah. Fucking COVID.
Yeah. We are taking over Gary Con and Jay with almost 100 events, and I'm going to guess it's going to be over 100 events before it's done. That is absolutely amazing. That's Chuck right there. Chuck doing all that, doing the heavy lifting, getting us in there, and that's a good thing. And we got a great game. It is a fantastic game. Castles and Crusades is exactly what we promised it that it is. Easy to play, fast. You own the game. Once you get it, you can streamline it, or you can add shit to it, whatever you want to do. It is what we promised it to be. Skeeter's been doing. I did not know he's doing stuff for DCC. Those are some great people over there. Joe Goodman and I go way back too.
He wants
to. I love the folks.
He wants to do some CNC conversions too.
There's this actual quiet triumvirate of idiots that have been in deep conversations for over 2 decades. Aldo Giazzi, who has since retired, Joe Goodman, and myself. We've all communicated over the years, just having dinners, gathering at conventions. The three of us vanish somewhere. If I got questions, I shoot Joe, a text. Hey man, blah blah blah. Just good people. That and the unsung troll hero Tom Tullis. We don't hear much about Tom, but Tom of Fat Dragon Games. I cannot tell you how many times I shoot him a text about graphic design, art, and then economic stuff for the business. Hey man, how does this sound? Whatever. There's some absent trolls. Sometimes it is better to be the big fish in your own pond when you have a specific vision. Yes, that's exactly it. Tyrannus Rex. That's my philosophy. I know that's Davis's, my wife's, the whole thing. We actually had a huge discussion. It was just me. Me and Mark Sandy were the only ones left of the company. Peter Bradley, of course. Back when 4th edition was coming out and Gary had passed away. So everything was a disaster. CNC was doing okay, but not enough to carry the company. And we debated whether we wanted to sign the DSL. No, what was that? What an OGL, whatever the hell it was that they were doing for 4th edition. And that's when we made the decision that we were going to leave Dungeons and Dragons. We were going to leave that stuff and not do it anymore and go our own way. And I think I quoted The Unforgiven. One of my favorite lines is in The Unforgiven. If you haven't seen it, it's a Clint Eastwood movie. One of his buddy gets killed, and it gets rough after that. But he's talking to one of his friends, and he says, "Give me your Schofield," which is his pistol. The friend says, "Here, you can have it. You can have it, Will. I don't want it. I would rather die blind and ragged than use it again." And I love that line, "Die blind and ragged." And I'm pretty sure I said that to my wife at the time. I'd rather die blind and ragged than hook TLG up to someone else's wagon. So we've been on our own ever since, and I have no regrets, and we're growing and all of that stuff and blah, 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 blah. It's great. So there you go.
I've got a couple questions for you. One from Chris Donovan. Any plans or maybe just ideals to ever have more TSR folks write more stuff for CNC like James Ward has in the past?
We circle that every now and again. Yeah, I mean, if they would be interested, we've got 3 James Ward's projects that we haven't published. We need to get those out. We've talked to some of them. A lot of them are mostly retired now. They don't really want schedules or anything like that. So we kind of we shift gears and get people who are a little bit more, wanting to get into the whole thing. Jeremy's a perfect example. Jeremy's
Mhm.
doing all kinds of stuff for us these days.
Rick Montel says Tom needs to offer 3D printed hair pieces.
Do what? What was that? I
He
missed
said, Tyler said that Tom needs to offer printable 3D printed hair pieces.
that. Poor Tom.
All
Tom.
right. Anyway,
Fair's got nothing to do with it. Yes, that is a fantastic line. Yeah, do what, Joe?
Bob Gnarly asked, if I order one of every CNC book and print for my Navy sons, can I get a discount?
Yeah, absolutely. Reach out and shoot us an email. And anyone in the service gets a 50% discount.
It's
So,
right there in the link, right there. If you've got someone in the military,
yeah, absolutely. And now if we're really not in theater anymore, I think Syria is about it. Philippines, I know we've got some in the Horn of Africa, but we shipped to the Gulf War free. To any military units stationed in Iraq, Afghanistan, we ship stuff for free. We got some wonderful gifts over the years. I had it buried in one of these dumbass books. My favorite one is that. Yeah, here it is. So we sent this to a unit in Iraq. We sent a whole bunch of books to a unit in Iraq, thanking them for their service and all that, and just gave them for free. And then they sent me this back.
Oh, that's freaking cool. Yeah.
It's awesome. Got some Saddam Hussein money shipped to. Just cool. Good stuff.
That is nuts. That's so cool. Talk about getting some history in the mail. That's awesome.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm gonna have to write a history of the company one of these days.
You need to. It's in fact that there's someone's got a question here, but I will warn you. I know you got something you got to do. We're running out of time.
Oh yeah. We got. So let's wrap these up. And yes, Josie Wales dying ain't much of a living. Ah, it's a great line.
Jack McCarthy from YouTube says, "How did Steven first get into TTRPGs? I smell a story there."
Oh yeah. So I'll do it briefly. That's a great question, though I do have to step off. So my mother was getting Davis a Christmas present or a birthday present. I can never remember. He keeps telling me, I think it was birthday actually, because his birthday's in December. This is 1975 or 4. It's got to be 75. And she just took me. One of my dad was in the Army. One of his soldiers was deploying to Korea, which is a hardship tour, which means you can't carry anything. And the guy had these small little brown books that he had to get rid of. And he knew that his commanding officer's son was into war games, so he wanted to give them to them. So Mom went to pick him up. She took me with him. And I remember standing there behind Mom as he's giving the books to her. I don't remember what was said. She told me, it's really funny because he said to her, "Be careful with these books. They can be addictive." Which if he could see where Davis and I ended up with those little books, it'd be crazy. So Davis gets the books. He's got them forever and a day. He said about 6 months. He just didn't know what to do with them. They weren't like anything that we had played before. And he just sits on them. And finally he got into them, I guess, or he was in some kind of play-by-mail, the Hyborian Age play-by-mail war game, I believe. And so maybe someone said, I have no idea. But he figured out how to do it, and we started playing after that. So that's like 1976. We first began playing Dungeons and Dragons in the little brown books. Now I didn't know what was going on. Davis made my character sheets. I just named them. He just made a bunch of characters for me, and I made character sheets. So I don't ever remember holding the brown book. I'm sure that I did, but I don't remember holding them in my hand. He just did it for me. And we played for like a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, when the Monsters and Treasure came out. And then he got that, or Monster Manual came out. He got that. And then it was AD&D. But the cool thing is, I still have those very same books that guy gave my mom way back in 1975 in that parking lot at Fort Leavenworth, Kentucky.
That's awesome, dude. That is awesome. I wish I had my stuff.
Yeah,
still got my home stuff in pieces, but I still have it. All right, last question, and Steve's got to go. This is from Terry DM. Will you guys be able to use the old cover art for other Zygig box sets?
The cover art for Upper Works is what I think you're talking about. Yeah, that's owned by Peter Bradley, so I'm certain Peter would let us use it again. yeah, we could definitely do that. The stuff that we don't have permission to do on the current Castle Yigsburg, you'll see a Jeffrey Catherine Jones is on there, and we would have to get a hold of the estate. Now I have talked to his daughter, her daughter, and I think that arrangements could be made. But in talking to some of the other Gygaxes and even Davis, I think I'm one of the more avid fans of Jeffrey Catherine Jones, so we probably won't be using those on upcoming versions, and we'll go a different route. What route that is yet has not yet been determined. That's another thing that the GFW actually we need to settle this week. But some of it, yes, some of it no.
All right. So, on that note, we want to appreciate everybody for coming by. Thank you very much. We will be back tomorrow morning. I'll be running a stream in the morning, and I think I may have some guests on there. We may be doing something. I don't know what yet, but come by and see us. We typically talk world design or world building and game design, or world design and game building, whichever you want to call it. And then we'll be back again Thursday afternoon with the whole weekly troll roundup, if you would. Again, thanks everybody for coming by. We're going to set up a raid now. Steve,
real quick, I want to answer. Statler said, "Who's better at keeping old stuff in good shape, Stephen or Davis?" It's not even a contest. Davis doesn't even try to keep it in shape. I went to his house one day, and there's 4 open bins, mail catcher bins, and it was raining, and there was just stuff piled in it. I had to take them all in the garage. Now Davis doesn't even attempt to keep things in good shape.
We had a health discussion today. Me and him did actually. He wanted to know how I had the motivation to get up every morning and go to the gym, because I've been swimming like crazy trying to lose weight for Gary Con. And I said, that's easy, man. Fear. I don't want to go through the same shit I went through at Gamehole Con. He's like, oh, I said, yeah. So I'm very motivated. All right, we're gonna wait. Sorry, we're gonna raid into Abdabeen. That's one of our mods, and she also is in the both streams that we have on the weekends for games. I thought I'd give her a little support. There's not anybody else out there really to raid into right now that's doing the kind of stuff we're doing. So I'm gonna raid into her to give her a little support. You guys give her a follow and a hello from us, and have a really good evening. We really appreciate you guys.
Thanks all for showing up. Y'all take it easy.
Thank you. See y'all.